The film opens with our main character, Park Dong-won, an earnest, humble man who has finally achieved a dream he's worked 11 years for: home ownership. After scrimping and saving, he's able to move into a new apartment building in Seoul with his wife and young son. It's a modest place, not luxurious, but it's his. And to him, it means security, pride, and a better life. The family starts settling in, meeting a few neighbors, including Jong Man-soo, a gruff, loud single father who lives with his teenage son upstairs. Man-soo works a blue-collar job, possibly as a janitor or maintenance worker. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He's loud, speaks his mind, and doesn't care much for formalities or social niceties, creating a contrast to Dong-won's personality. They start off as annoyed neighbors, complete opposites. Dong-won is orderly and polite. Man-soo is messy and informal. There's light banter and clashing neighbor energy between them, but it's all played for laughs. Meanwhile, subtle signs suggest that something's off. We see uneven floors, mysterious water leaking into the parking lot, and cracks in the walls. The residents mention it, but no one seems overly concerned. Just part of living in a newly built, affordable apartment. These signs are foreshadowing what's to come, but the characters are too distracted by their everyday lives to notice. After a few months, Dong-won feels proud enough to throw a housewarming party. He invites 4 of his younger colleagues and Man-soo to his house. After a while, 2 colleagues leave and the other 2, Kim Sung-hyun, who's awkward and goofy, and Eun-ju, a smart, ambitious intern. The 3 of them, plus Dong-won's family, gather for drinks and food, exchanging stories and teasing one another. That night, a massive downpour soaks the area. Then, without warning, the unthinkable happens. A huge sinkhole opens beneath the building, swallowing the entire apartment complex into the ground. It's sudden, terrifying, and brutal. When the dust settles, we see that the apartment and the people inside it have fallen roughly 500 meters underground. Above ground, the building is simply gone. A gaping black hole remains. Emergency services arrive, but they're baffled. The media swarms in. Dong-won's wife, who had stepped out for an errand just before the collapse, is in shock. Inside the fallen building, a small group of survivors regains consciousness. Dong-won, Sung-hyun, Eun-ju, Man-soo, his son, and a few other residents. They're bruised, confused, and trapped. The building is tilted, debris everywhere, water is seeping in from broken pipes, and they have no way to communicate with the outside world. Initial panic sets in, but Dong-won and Man-soo begin trying to keep everyone calm. Their leadership styles clash. Dong-won is methodical while Man-soo is impulsive but practical. After the collapse, the survivors are trapped inside the ruined building, which is tilted and unstable. They try to search for a way out. One of the first attempts is to climb up through the elevator shaft, but the rubble makes the climb extremely dangerous. The group begins exploring the building for a way out. They try climbing an elevator shaft and digging through walls. There are tense, claustrophobic moments, falling rubble, a fire, the fear of further collapse. Meanwhile, the outside world is working frantically to figure out a plan. Engineers assess the sinkhole, reporters ask hard questions, and Dong-won's wife pleads with authorities not to give up. But the deeper the hole, the more difficult the rescue. The rescue team drills a small vertical shaft down into the collapsed site. Through this opening, they lower a microphone or speaker system, like a wired comms unit with a walkie-talkie. Park Dong-won and Man-soo hear the voice of the rescuers and begin to communicate back. When Dong-won's wife said her son is missing, that's when Dong-won realized his son is trapped too. And after a frantic search, he discovers his son. He's trapped in a separate part of the rubble, unable to reach or respond clearly. Dong-won pushes through obstacles, calls out non-stop, and keeps trying until he locates and reaches his son, ensuring he's safe and not critically injured. Once they're reunited, they find a narrow ventilation shaft leading upward. It's the only possible way out. The tunnel is tight, dangerous, and collapsing. Dong-won boosts his son up first. Despite being exhausted and injured, he manages to climb behind his son, and both eventually make it out alive. Back underground, water continues to rise. Supplies are running out. The survivors realize they have only one chance. They find a partially collapsed ventilation tunnel that might lead out, but it's steep, narrow, and dangerously unstable. When Man-soo finds a big water tank, the survivors were happy thinking it may help them to escape. When everyone gets inside the water tank, Man-soo immediately closes the lid, saying he has to risk his life to save his friends, making his son to cry. As they near the top, another collapse nearly seals the tunnel. Man-soo notices it and uses all his strength to loosen the water tank. Mansu sacrifices himself so the others can make it out. The survivors emerge, exhausted, injured, covered in dust, but alive. There's a moment of heartbreak when they think Mansu hasn't made it. He crawls out last, battered but breathing. The reunion is emotional, especially between Mansu and his son. Days later, the survivors make a reunion. Dongwon says his apartment dream is gone, but his perspective has shifted. He watches his son laugh and his wife hug him, and he smiles. It's not about the apartment anymore. It's about being alive. The movie ends here. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content.